Hello everybody, it's Infinity Break here. With all the news over the last month or two about TES6's possible leaks, I began to remember being asked a while ago what I would want from a new Elder Scrolls game. And with me playing every other main series game and a number of spin-offs and mods, what other person is more qualified to sit down and splurt his opinion on what the next game should offer? So as you know, about 2 years ago, if I'm not mistaken, the uneventful TES6 teaser trailer was revealed showing everyone that, yeah, this is still on the menu. And with that, everyone and their mother, from the newer Skyrim fans and experienced TES veterans alike, were both like,
I've been waiting for this!
Myself included. And since then, all these people, including myself, have been wondering, what does this game have to offer? Well, we don't know, and leaks are just that, leaks, so nothing confirmed. So let's sit down and talk about what could be. I think the setting of a TES game is definitely something that really sets the tone of the experience you will get. Skyrim was a cold, beautiful Norse-inspired world ripe with crypts, villages, and dragons. Oblivion's Cyrodiil was the spitting image of a medieval Roman Empire-inspired fantasy world with class, color, and an interesting selection of creatures. And Morrowind was the textbook definition of bizarre and alien, and we loved it. I think the leaks about the game being set in Hammerfell could be interesting, but like I've stated before in many videos, I'm really hoping my TES6 theme theory is true and we not only get Hammerfell, but the Iliac Bay, which is comprised of both Hammerfell and High Rock, as well as having the possibility of the Orc city of Orsinium, which could possibly be rebuilt in the nearby Hrothgarian mountains. This setting would be amazing for a number of reasons, the first being the fact that 3 provinces would be at the player's will to explore and get involved with. I really feel it's also a perfect setting considering our lovely friends the Thalmor and how they still have a bone to pick with Hammerfell, as well as possibly having support of the Imperial loyal Bretons. And on top of this, there is the amazing possibility of having multiple distinct environments to adventure in, from the Cyrodiil-esque medieval High Rock countryside, the more cold and rugged Hrothgarian mountains, to the Alakir desert of Hammerfell, as well as multiple islands within the Iliac Bay itself. Story has to be one of the most important things in any game besides the gameplay itself. I mean, games are literally a vessel for the story of whatever that game is trying to tell. So what kind of story could we expect from The Elder Scrolls 6? Well, to be honest, we have nothing to go off of, but with my big old crazy brain here, I could definitely brainstorm an interesting concept at least. I definitely feel that with Skyrim setting them up heavily to be one major force on Tamriel, the Thalmor are definitely going to be at least involved in the next game, if not the center point of the story. With this, I feel the Adamantia Tower, or Dureni Tower if you will, could be involved as the Thalmor have been theorized to be destroying the towers to return the world to a primordial state. It makes sense in the lore. With the Dureni Tower involved, we could get a lot of interesting lore on one of the Elder Scrolls' biggest players who rarely shows up in the limelight, Lorkhan. The Dureni Tower is where Lorkhan was punished for tricking the creators of Mundus and Nirn into making those things. On the tower, his heart was cut out and flung into the ocean where Red Mountain formed, setting in motion the creation of Tribunal and many other things. Now I have theories of Lorkhan, but I'll save those for another video. For now, just know if the Dureni Tower is involved in the Elder Scrolls 6, I feel we could see more of Lorkhan, who I theorize is the biggest character in the Elder Scrolls universe so far. And that is what I feel would make a really good story for the Elder Scrolls 6. Now we move on to the meat of this speculation, gameplay. Gameplay is probably just as, if not more important than story itself, as is shown with Morrowind, a game that has one of the best stories within the entirety of the Elder Scrolls universe, but suffers from not so good gameplay. This is just my personal opinion, guys, please don't crucify me. The first major thing I want to bring up is the return of class-based systems. Yes, I think we should return to the old number-based system of the old games, but not to the point where newer fans are confused and possibly frustrated. I'm thinking a blend of old and new could benefit everyone. I'm thinking something similar to Oblivion, but in this case all non-major skills still net you XP at the end of the day. Another option here is to have things be combat and quest based, XP wise at least. Skills can be either separate or netting you minor experience compared to combat and quests. I think a good mod that does this very well is Enderal, and how leveling up is based not on your skills, but on the quests and people you kill in the game. Next up is transportation. Horses are nice, but that's all we've had for 2 games unless you count the on-rails dragon rides from the Dragonborn DLC. I don't. Honestly, looking back at the second game of the franchise, Daggerfall could definitely net us some interesting options of transportation. First off, wagons should return. Having the option to load up your carriage is definitely one of the funnest things you can do in Daggerfall. This experience is only heightened by the fact that a huge haul of money is waiting for you back at town when you return. Ships are something I also want to see return from Daggerfall. I think in addition to being a literal mobile home, ships can give a whole new dynamic to the game, adding things like hauling cargo for money, piracy, or just exploring for things like treasure on islands for those who decide to cash in on a ship. Now, while I'm still talking about transportation, I kind of feel fast travel should be eliminated, in the Skyrim and Oblivion sense at least. With all these options, I think getting around the Iliac Bay could be easier, especially if you keep the carriage and boat system from Skyrim, which just involves you paying someone to bring you somewhere instantly, which I feel could actually work. I honestly just feel like traveling with all these other options honestly really does mean that getting rid of fast travel is a pretty feasible idea at this point. Now when it comes to combat, I think what Skyrim gave us is okay and could work, but some things have room for improvement, especially if Bethesda has made us wait over 10 years for a new game. Melee combat could be mixed up with the addition of a Kingdom Come Deliverance style fighting system, in which you have multiple stances and multiple strikes and stabs one can do on an enemy, though compared to it, it could be just a little bit more casualized for ease of play. As for ranged combat, archery can primarily stay the same, with maybe the addition of a swaying crosshairs to make it a little more challenging and realistic. Seriously, Skyrim made archery way too easy and powerful. Let's make it a little bit more challenging, and possibly bring back throwable weapons from Morrowind. And magic. I'm just gonna say it. I want to be able to cast magic while holding a two-handed weapon just like in Oblivion. Now to make it fair, maybe these spells can be weaker than if you just used a free hand or just used magic by itself, and that's it. But yeah, combat magic should be more versatile than it previously was, with you needing a free hand to cast a spell. Also bring back spell creation. I don't know why that was removed in the first place. As for non-combat magic, I want to see the return of a lot of spells like lockpicking spells, levitation, and adding into the transportation aspect again, teleportation spells. These things should make a return, as I personally don't agree with the removal of them in the first place. Character creation is probably one of the funnest features for anyone starting a new game. I personally feel a character creation system like Fallout 4's is good, with you being able to literally sculpt the character. As for background, I look once more to Daggerfall and its amazing character creation, with you literally being able to pick your character's background bit by bit. Other minor things I would want to see included in the game are optional hardcore mode for those who want to eat, drink, and sleep in the game, or at the very least a bigger use for things like food and sleep, as in Skyrim you almost never need to do both. I also think dragons could return as NPCs in secluded areas and optional boss fights. The return of spears would be nice, as well as maybe things like medium armor and removed magic schools like mysticism. The base or home creation from Fallout 4 would be a nice touch, but honestly just having a house would be fine. And I think alchemy could be a little bit more complex, once more looking at Kingdom Come Deliverance. I know this is a long list, but this is honestly just my wish list that will probably never happen, so give me a break. Honestly, just listing off all these changes makes me realize how many things Bethesda really cut out from the TES games over the years. But hey, why not bring some of them back, or at the very least bring over things from the Fallout series that work really well. Either way, this video is definitely over now, and thank you so much for watching this if you have. This has been Infinity Break, reminding you all to say it with me now. It's been almost 10 years now, Bethesda. Where's our new Elder Scrolls game?